Most people think life insurance is either too expensive or something that they can wait until later in life to get. And both of those are huge mistakes. In this video, we're going to break down the difference between term life insurance and whole life insurance and some things that you need to know and be aware of to be able to make the financial decision of which life insurance that you should go with and which is best for you. My name is Kyle Demian with the Wealth Academy. And to simplify this and to start the conversation, life insurance as a whole is only as good as the policy that is in force on the day that you pass away. The reason I say that is there are many different types of life insurance. The only ones that matter or that are important are the correct ones, the correct types of policies that are in force on the day we pass away. And now here's the thing. We don't know when we're going to pass away. So we always need to be prepared. And as you guys are watching this video, I will say this a lot, especially if you watch any of my other content, but we are only as young and as healthy as we are ever going to be right now in this moment in time. For example, we're not getting any younger, right? And typically we don't get any healthier as we age. If anything, most people usually actually only get unhealthier as we age. And so that is huge because life insurance, the cost of life insurance is only determined by those two factors, your age and your health, right? So to start us off, let's dive into the first type of insurance, which is term insurance. And I want you to think of term insurance very similar to like renting your insurance. Just the same way as you may rent an apartment or rent a house, a term life insurance policy is just like renting your insurance. You only have it for a certain period of time. You don't build up any equity, and there could be a point in time where you don't have it, right? And so term life insurance is good usually for 10, 20, or 30 years traditionally. And that means that your coverage only lasts for that 10, 20, or 30 years. What happens after those 10, 20, or 30 years? At that time, you would need to reapply for the life insurance coverage if you wanted to continue on. But here's my number one question. If you're concerned about your term policy lapsing in 10 or 20 or 30 years, or I guess ending at that time period, why don't you just consider a whole life? So a term policy is really great for people that have a really large financial responsibility, and they're only going to have it for a certain period of their life. A couple examples that come to mind are when you have a mortgage and or if you have kids. And if you have a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage for, let's say, $250,000, it is very common that people match up a life insurance policy to their mortgage. So if you have a 30-year mortgage for $250,000, you get a $250,000 term life insurance policy for 30 years. And that covers you as the individual and your family, I guess, more so. It covers your family if something were to happen to you and you're no longer alive, you can no longer perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. And we'll get into that here more in a second. But you match the life insurance to cover your mortgage obligation. And that protects your spouse if you're married and or protects your kids if you want to make sure that if something happens to you, they can take over the house or at least stay in the house if you're no longer here. Now, speaking of you having kids, a lot of parents like to take out a large term policy when their children are born just to make sure, God forbid, if anything happens to them while their kids are still young and they're going to have some financial responsibility or somebody would have financial responsibility to raise these children until they're at least into their 20s. Typically, not all the time, but typically adults age 20, 25, or 30 then become fully responsible financially for themselves and they no longer need their parents. And so once again, that's where that financial responsibility drops off and a term policy just may not make sense anymore. So term policies are really great for covering large periods of financial responsibility and or just simply if you're on a budget, you're on a fixed tight income and you're looking for something that's going to be cheap but be able to get you a lot of coverage. Whole life insurance, on the contrary, just as it sounds, it lasts your whole entire life. Now, because it lasts your whole entire life, it's going to come with higher premiums because you're getting more of a guarantee. You're getting a certainty that there is a death benefit that will pay out to your loved ones at some period of time. Now, traditionally, whole life can make sense for families and couples that do want to leave this legacy, do want to protect their loved ones and their kids. but they also want to make sure that this amount, this payment that they're paying towards their life insurance is for sure going to pay out at some point in time. Okay. Whole life insurance is probably better for savers, where term life insurance could be better for investors. If you want to like buy term and invest the difference, versus whole life will have a higher cost, but with more guarantees and so on. Whole life can also be a great solution for those as you're getting older, 50, 60, 70, and you're starting to think about your final expenses, covering the cost of burial, cremations, the funeral home, your showing, headstone plots, all of those different expenses that come up. Whole life insurance does have a specific sector of policies called final expense life insurance policies that are geared for easier application and easier underwriting, so that you can get that, maybe $10,000 to $30,000 of coverage to be able to cover your final expenses, as well as whole lives can range and go all the way up to $2, $5, $10 million of coverage, depending on what your needs are and what your use for it is. And then one other benefit to whole life is the ability to grow and build cash value that term life insurance just doesn't offer. And what cash value is it is an overpayment into your life insurance policy, overpaying the cost of the insurance. For example, if your cost of insurance is maybe $100 per month, but you give the insurance company $150, you're overpaying by that $50 a month. And then that $50 a month goes to building a cash value inside of your whole life insurance policy. Now, this is something that some policies do better than the others. If you've seen on my page here and on my content on social media, I talk about the ability to use your cash value over time. You can borrow against it. You can leverage against it. You can use it for a lot of cool things. But in this video, for the purpose of this video, we're not going to go into that in depth. That'll be for other videos, but it is something else that comes up with whole life policies. So to sum up this full video, go with term if you're just starting out financially and you don't have a lot of budget to work with. And then also you can go with term if you want to protect your income, debts, or your family, maybe just for the short term. On the contrary, go with whole life if you're looking for lifelong coverage and to maybe build tax-free wealth, if you want to leave a legacy, and then if you want to have access to funds later without penalties or without market risk. And that's like the cash value that I talked about. Now, if you need help determining which life insurance policy is best for you, you're not alone. And this is common. That's why people like myself exist, where we are life insurance brokers and we can have a conversation one-on-one to determine, number one, what is your insurance need for you and your family? And then number two, which insurance company is going to be the best fit for you? There are dozens of life insurance companies that are out there. And unfortunately, not all life insurance companies offer all the different types of life insurance policies that are out there. And then also some are better in one area than maybe another company is in another area. So it can be very difficult if you're on your own, but that's the benefit of working with someone like myself that is a broker. It can kind of help you shop around and alleviate some of the pain and confusion that could come with understanding your life insurance options. So below this video, I will have a link to our website, thewealthacademy.com. That's Academy with a K, as you can see behind me. And from there, you can go to schedule a free consultation. There's no cost to it. We're simply just trying to see if we can help you. And if we can, we will pair you with the right life insurance company for you. And if not, if it doesn't make sense for some reason, we can part as friends. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you found this helpful, make sure to like below and subscribe to this channel if you like learning more about life insurance, wealth building strategies, and retirement planning. We're here to help. Take care. Bye-bye.